All right, we have had an amazing full day. I feel like I've got way too much stuff in my brain to process it all, which always happens. But just one thing to note, anybody who attends this, you get a link once we've gotten the videos up, and you can watch all the ones that you've missed. So it's really, and you can go back and watch the ones that you sat through and got too much information on to process in one day. I'm going to introduce Bella. She spoke this morning. She's speaking this afternoon on something that I think is really important, because a lot of the time we talk about toxin-free and organic food and, toxin-free cleaners and all of this. If you go into a supermarket, they're more expensive. They can make money off you. These companies want to make money, and they know they can. And so I really wanted Bella to come and talk about living on a budget and how to do this economically, because all of us can do it, and there are ways to do it. You have to be creative, and you have to be able to, do stuff in your home and have science experiments going on in your home, but you can do it. So Bella just recently, I think you just recently graduated from nutritional therapy school, and so she is a nutritionist, and she really has a sort of one-on-one approach, but also an approach that is, I want to say, global, that allows everybody to sort of be able to live toxin-free. So thank you, Bella, for coming.
Thank you so much. Yes. Well, hello. Yes, I'm Bella Tommey. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner, holistic health educator, and just overall toxin-free living person, whatever you want to call me. So a little bit about me. Let me just kind of take you on my journey into this space and how I kind of came about to, I guess, know what I know about toxin-free living. My health journey started at a very young age when my brother Billy, who is pictured up there with me, I don't know if you can see, he was diagnosed with severe autism at the age of 2, and our entire family adopted this low-tox lifestyle in an effort to help his functioning. And at the time I was young, and I was complaining about the weird food and the herb-smelling home that I lived in. But I was, I'm so immensely grateful for the slightly limited toxic exposure I had in my younger years. And I excelled. I had bundles of energy, and I juggled 3 sports and felt really great. And then I hit my teenage years, and I started eating all the junk, thinking it was really cool to, eat at McDonald's every day, using all the toxic makeup and perfumes. And then I started dealing with my own health issues, mainly just acne and hormonal issues, but also some digestive problems too. And when I felt so icky like that, I became determined to, again, adopt my family's low-tox lifestyle. And this time I was going into college, but the problem that I kept running into and everyone kept telling me was that I had no money, because I was a college student, and we all know what that's like. And I was surrounded by people who spent their tiny little budgets on fast food and alcohol and sorority dues and things like that. And everyone told me, you can't be healthy during college because you have no money, and when you're in college you just have to eat fast food. But that wasn't good enough for me. So I kind of went on a mission, and I tried different things, and I figured it out, I like to think. I discovered during these years at college that you absolutely can live a toxin-free lifestyle on even the smallest budget. In fact, you can actually save money by living a healthy lifestyle if you know how. So today I'm going to be covering the major elements of low-toxin living, starting off with organic, nourishing food, going into household products that aren't going to kill you, and personal care products free from nasty ingredients. As a nutritional therapy practitioner, you'd be amazed at the times I hear clients come to me and say, oh, I can't afford to eat organic. Even if they pay for my services, they'll still walk away and say, sorry, I can't afford to buy organic food, or I can't afford to buy toxin-free cleaners for my home. I'm here today to prove to you that this is a pretty lame excuse. In my opinion, it's giving up totally. And if you know how and are willing to learn, I bet you can budget low-tox living very simply. I do want to mention before I dive in that although we can strive to live as toxin-free as possible, sadly, and I don't want to be really a downer, but it isn't really possible to live entirely toxin-free if you live on this earth. If you leave your house, drive a car, stand next to someone in public when they spray their floral fragrance all over themselves, and this happened to me on the plane yesterday. If you're breathing the air around us, it's pretty much impossible to live free from all toxins. I want you to remember that as we go into this. It's not about being perfect. It's about doing the best we can with what we have and about maximizing our budget and resources to live as healthy as possible. So, let's go first into organic food, which is my favorite topic as a nutritional therapy practitioner. So how much are we spending on food? And this may not be reflective of your budget, but this was the statistics that I found online at the USDA. So the average two-person family on a moderate budget spends around $554 per month on food. And this isn't organic food. This is just food in general. This includes eating out. It includes groceries, snacks, and things like that. The average four-person family with two toddlers on a moderate budget spends $712 a month. Because teens tend to eat more, the average family with two teenagers spends an average of $1,106 per month. And on average, it costs one person on a moderate budget around $244 per month to eat. So if anyone wants to share, you can share what your budget is. If not, no worries, but I'm going to share what my budget is. I spend no more than $70 a week on organic food, and that's for two people, Max and I. This includes 3 meals a day and snacks, and everything is organic and real food. We do sometimes factor in one date night each week, but other than that, it provides for us from Monday to Sunday, $70 a week. And I would say that's a pretty affordable budget, and that's kind of the budget I went off in college. So, introduction to budget-friendly food. Firstly, and this is not necessarily the thing that you want to hear, but I feel like as a society, we can't afford not to eat organic food. We can't afford to eat pesticide-laden food, meals that are highly processed, or food pumped with hormones. Why? Because it will make us sick. And what happens when we're sick, like really sick, cancer, chronic illnesses, and autoimmune diseases, we have to go to the doctor. And what happens when we go to the doctor or the hospital? We get thousands and thousands of dollars in medical bills, resulting in us spending far more than if we had just invested a little of that money into taking better care of ourselves. Secondly, I believe that it's a myth that organic food is overwhelmingly and drastically more expensive. The reality is it can be just as, or if not more, affordable. Again, you just need to know how to shop and the little hacks behind living healthy on a budget. So let's start off in the grocery store, where organic food is made out to be like triple the price. Now, the reality is, as Christina mentioned earlier, yes, actually, most organic food does have a price rise. They, know we're interested in organic food. They know we'll pay more for it. But it may not be as high as you actually were expecting. According to a Consumer Report study, on average, organic foods were, ready for this, it's kind of shocking, 47% more expensive. But before you panic, it's important to know that the range was huge depending on what you bought. In a couple of instances in the study, the organic product was actually quite a lot cheaper. For example, organic honey at Amazon Fresh is 13% cheaper than regular honey. In fact, depending on where they shopped in the study, they found organic lettuce, carrots, maple syrup, olive oil, and cream cheese for the same price or less than conventional options. At the other extreme, things like organic zucchini cost a whopping 303% more than non-organic at Fresh Direct. So, ultimately, it comes down to knowing where to shop for what, price comparison, and figuring out some hacks to get the best bang for your buck. I also want to add that as demand rises and more growers switch to natural and organic methods, the price will go down. I'm all about voting with your dollars, and I truly believe that as a community, as a population, if we all start buying organic food, they can't just raise it for everyone because everyone needs to eat. According to Tim Richards, chair of the agribusiness program at Arizona State University, 10 years ago, organic food was about 50% more expensive than it is now. But now prices are in more of the same category. So how do we figure out the grocery store because it can seem very overwhelming. And here are some tips that I learned that I still hold very dear to me to this day. Firstly, planning ahead. Meal planning and making weekly grocery lists eliminate chances of overspending, in my opinion. I have this grocery list that's free. You can print it out on my blog at bellagracewellness.com. I use it every single week. It has all of my favorite budget-friendly snacks if you're into buying packaged foods at all. They're all organic and also other healthy products. I print one of these every single week. I mark the products that I actually need for the week, and I stick to it pretty solidly on the list so I don't get tempted by all the goodies at the store, especially if you're going to places like Whole Foods. Often they'll have fancy things that you want to try, but I really just don't need them in my house. I don't need them. Each week I make sure I include a ton of fresh vegetables and fruits, high-quality fats, and high-quality meat, fish, or eggs. Little tips like buying a whole organic chicken for less per pound rather than buying just a package of organic chicken breast or legs or wings, which are more expensive per pound, are hugely helpful when planning ahead. You can also use the organic chicken carcass to make your own chicken broth, and that will also then result in things like soup. So I actually buy an organic chicken pretty much every week. It really stretches. I find you can make a lot of meals from it. Also, focus on the freezer. This is one that my mum taught me, and she's been living like this for ages. But 9 times out of 10, the organic frozen produce at a store is cheaper. When you see things on sale for a great discount, buy them and throw them in your freezer for another day. My freezer is always stocked with organic meats, vegetables, and more. If anyone has a natural grocer's store near you, and sorry if it sounds very unfamiliar, it's a smaller grocery chain, but they have a really great clearance freezer section, and they put a ton of organic meat in there that they freeze on its sell-by date, and you can buy it for 50% plus off the price. So definitely go check it out if you have one in your store. So yeah, we stock up our freezer with all kinds of things we find on sale, and also you're less likely to waste produce if it's frozen. So I mean, I know I've stocked up my fridge with beautiful, fresh, expensive produce, and then only to find that I never got round to it and it's gone off, and I have to put it in my compost. So utilizing the freezer has been a game changer for me and my entire family. Buying in bulk. So if you have a large family, this may be for you. For me, I'm a family of 2, so it's not really the most cost-savvy option for me. But at the Autism Trust, we have many, many mouths to feed. And so joining wholesale clubs like Costco or Sam's, they actually have so many organic options now at a reduced rate if you're buying a lot of them. And also tons of delicious samples, so I would check that out. Also, don't buy into the label. So many grocery stores now, as organic is getting more popular, have their own USDA organic certified products that are way, way cheaper than popular brands. And oftentimes they've still undergone the same rigorous testing process. So when I go to the grocery store, I avoid these popular brands, mainly because they're able to raise their prices to meet with the demand. Things like pancake mix and cake mixes, consider buying the ingredients yourself and putting them together. You can even go to the store and read the back of your organic grain-free pancake mix and see exactly what's in there and put it together at home for far cheaper. I actually honestly recommend avoiding food in packaging as much as possible anyway, just because food without a label, in my opinion, is far healthier and safer and cheaper. Figure out your area, and this was a big one for me. So I recently moved to the Hampton Roads area in Virginia, and before I kind of got settled on where I was going to grocery shop, I spent a week, and I know that sounds really tedious, but I spent a week figuring out my local stores. So I know that when I shop, I'll go to Lidl, for example, for some things, Trader Joe's for others, Whole Foods for the more specific items, and then buy others from my local farmer. And I'll go into building a relationship with your farmer in a minute. But I think it seems like tedious work, but once you've figured out where to buy what and what are the best prices you're getting, even if it's 50 cents on one thing, you can actually save a lot over time. So basically every week I'll take my list, I'll split it into different stores and write which stores I'm going to buy what, and quickly zip around them, and I'll get it done in an hour. And I'll have had the best price and the best quality. So that's important to me. So that's kind of how I navigate grocery stores, but you don't even have to shop at grocery stores. There are some other options where you can get your food for a great price. Farmers markets. I'm sure you're all very familiar with farmers markets, but again, depending on where you live and what your situation is, it can actually be more expensive to buy from your farmer. I know in Austin we were struggling to find an affordable farmer because the farmers there have crazy prices. But sometimes it can be significantly cheaper than food shipped from miles and miles away. It's definitely healthier anyway. So for me, buying eggs and certain meats from my farmer is far cheaper than purchasing them from the grocery store. And I actually shopped around with farmers in my area. I did a ton of research onto their farming methods, but also their prices and why they price things a certain way. I went and visited the farmers and formed a relationship with them. And I eventually found my wonderful farm in Virginia, and it only took me a few weeks. Also, don't feel afraid to ask in local groups and amongst friends. And sometimes the best farmers are actually a little more under the radar. So definitely hunt around. Be aware that also sometimes farmers can't afford the certified organic sticker. So don't be put off if they can't afford to have that. Ask them about their practices. Again, really get to know your local farmer and their methods, build a relationship, travel to their farm. And I said this in my earlier talk, but if they're not going to let you in to see their practices, you don't want to be buying from them. When you have that relationship established, especially if you're buying regularly from them, you can also consider negotiating prices. Just tell them your story and your truth and your budget and work with them. I think a lot of farmers actually hugely appreciate the business, and a lot of them are very friendly. Also, another tip that I learned was be the last person to leave the farmer's market. Oftentimes farmers will actually cut their prices at the end of the day so they don't have to take their produce back to the farm, especially if they're a little further away. You can also consider buying a share in a CSA program, and I know there was one out there actually that was doing delicious food. It's nice to contribute to a local farm's operating expenses, but you can also get your weekly box of fresh fruits and vegetables, especially if you know and trust where it's coming from. Another thing, if you're a meat eater, also looking into sharing a cow with some friends for plenty of affordable, high-quality beef. Growing your own food. I had a comment about this earlier. This seems very tedious, and I was terrified of it for ages. But go for it. I mean, I'm not a gardener. I have no experience in gardening at all, and I've planted a little garden, and it's going great. So start off by planting a garden just simply by putting down some healthy soil and some seeds. You'll actually be surprised at how easy it is. You just got to give it a little care and attention. And you can reap a ton of benefits all year long with the right crops. Vegetables that may yield more than one crop per season include beans, beets, carrots, cabbage, lettuce, radishes, spinach, and turnips. All very nutrient-dense, excellent choices. And if you've ever tasted fresh veggies, fresh from the ground, especially if you grow them yourself, there's nothing quite like it. They are truly delicious. And they haven't traveled anywhere. They are super fresh. Also, organic herbs and herb pots. I honestly think they're one of the most overpriced items at the grocery store, especially if you are buying organic. You buy those little packets of organic herbs and they go like that or they go bad. But just plant a herb pot in your kitchen or even in your front yard or wherever you want to do it. My mum actually has a row of fresh herbs on her driveway, and they smell amazing and they look really pretty, but she is also able to use them in every recipe. She uses them also to make tinctures and as an air freshener and homemade laundry detergent, which I'll go into a little later. But the possibilities are endless. And again, they're very easy to maintain and very affordable. Once you have them, they last a while and they yield so many great herbs that you can use for so many things. If you see feeding your family as intimidating for a gardener, being a gardener, talk to your friends or neighbors about getting a little gardening club together. Everyone can grow, one or two crops as basic or as skilled as you want. And every harvest you can exchange vegetable gardens. Get a couple of chickens. And this, again, seems very tedious. And we were terrified of them. And now we have about 30 at Autism Trust land. In fact, we have so many chickens and ducks that we have just so many eggs every day. We don't even know what to do with them. Since our birds are totally free range and they feed off organic scraps and basically whatever else they find outside. So this keeps them healthy and not supplemented with the GMO Frankenfeed that you find at the store, but also really cheap to care for. They, again, feed off our scraps and in the garden, and they are super healthy, and the eggs, the yolks are so orange, and I think that's a key to knowing that you're getting good eggs. And then if you do get chickens and ducks, you can even start your own little business selling the eggs to those in your neighborhood and to friends. So again, don't be afraid of them. They're really easy to maintain. Online shopping, and this is something that's really boomed, I think, in the last year. I don't know if anyone has heard of Thrive Market before. Relatively new, but it saved me a ton of money. It's basically a health food store, and they have a ton of different non-GMO and organic groceries, mostly pantry items, but they've actually started doing grass-fed organic meats. And they're drastically reduced prices, anywhere from 25 to 50% off. I found that the quality of the products are always as good as what I buy locally, and they carry many of the brands I love and support. So basically what you'll see in Whole Foods, if you were going to buy Birch Bender's Paleo Pancake Mix, you can go on Thrive Market, it will probably be about half the price. They actually, if you've never shopped there before, they'll also give you 25% off your first order. And if you're anything like me, you'll get hooked and be ordering them from regularly. Amazon, obviously, free shipping, and you'll be surprised on what you can find on there. A lot of companies actually offer buying in bulk. Again, mainly pantry items, but especially if you have kids or a large family, and just some fun things, because why not? You can really get some big savings from there. And then Etsy. I didn't even know that you could buy food off Etsy. I actually mainly bought makeup from there, toxin-free makeup. But there are actually hundreds of sellers on there, and they're all just people like you and I, having their little small businesses and making homemade organic pantry items, and even things like elderberry syrup. And loads of great things are on Etsy, and I love knowing also that I'm supporting a small local business and a family. And some sellers even provide like full-on meals, organic paleo chicken pot pie, soups. Definitely worth having a browse through and making some connections. Again, if you're shopping there regularly, I'm sure you can build a connection with an Etsy seller. And it may even be worth considering selling some stuff yourself if you're good at baking or just want to get the word out there. And then couponing. I'd never really been into couponing until recently, mainly because I just lose them all the time. But clip every coupon. Because of the surge in organic demand, many stores recognize the benefit of assisting their consumers. And chains, as you've probably realized, such as Whole Foods, have partnered with Amazon Prime. Not good about that. But anyway, they do have a discount for Prime members. So take advantage of it. We can't do anything about it that they've partnered with Amazon, but they do have some great discounts. And they also work with affiliates like Mambo Sprouts, if you've heard of them. Also, All Natural Savings, Organic Deals. They have a lot of coupons online that you can check out and just clip them, print them, take them to the store. Also, check websites of your favorite companies for deals. Follow them on social media. Check for regular promotions. Honestly, there's nearly always some sort of deal going on for a holiday or a partnership with a brand. Or just because, but definitely check their websites. Follow bloggers or influencers. They are often given discount codes for their followers, and I know this because I'm a blogger myself. And you can find these on Instagram stories, Facebook posts, or really just by reaching out and asking. Also, if you have a small blog or social media presence or anything, consider reaching out and signing up for affiliate links yourself. You'll be surprised. You don't need a ton of followers. You just need to be knowledgeable and have people you can share it with. And you can get anywhere from 20% to 50% off products. Last one, write to companies. Now, this is kind of a fun story, but when I was a little rebellious teenager, I was obsessed with Kinder Buenos. I don't know if you know what they are. They're like a Kinder chocolate. Anyway, I was addicted to them, and I would buy several every single day and hide them from my parents. Anyway, my parents stopped letting me eat them because they're full of junk. And I wrote to the company and told them how much I love Kinder Buenos, and they sent me an entire box of them. I think I had about 100. And I had enough for a year. So, I mean, I don't know if it will work with all these products, but it's worth giving it a go. I literally had enough Kinder Buenos to last me a lifetime. and now I feel sick when I think about them. But anyway, you never know. Worth a try. Other budget-friendly hacks. Avoid eating out. You can see there the average amount spent for each meal of the day, all at fast food junk places. I'm sure none of you people really shop there, but this is an average. Even places like Chipotle, it can all add up. Eat out as little as possible, cook as much as you can. As I said, my groceries each week are $70. Our date night, when we go for a date night, is over $70. And that's one meal compared to an entire week worth. If you can't cook, I actually have a ton of really basic, easy one-pan meals that you can try for yourself. You don't have to be a good cook, and you may even enjoy it. So you can check them out on my website, bellagracewellness.com, or just look on Pinterest or somewhere like that. But start easy and don't feel afraid to cook. You can save a lot of money. Okay, coffee drinkers. Just a daily coffee. You can see on this little graphic from Business Insider how much it just adds up. People around the world actually spend over $10 billion on beverages at Starbucks in just 1 year. So skip buying coffee. Most of it's GMO anyway, especially from Starbucks. And make your own at home, or just ditch it altogether. Dandy Blend is a really great liver-supporting drink that tastes just like coffee and really, really affordable. Also, know how to preserve your food. I only learned more recently, actually, that keeping nuts and seeds in the fridge helps them last longer. So I have nuts and seeds in mason jars in my fridge now. Bananas, keep them separate from each other so that they spoil slower. Citrus fruit should be kept in the fridge. And if you don't have a chance to eat it, or you think you're not going to be able to eat it, then freeze it. Utilize that freezer again. Food that does get a little overripe should not be thrown away, but reused in recipes. For example, this is an obvious one, but overripe bananas into banana bread. You can make a great paleo banana bread with them. Also, compost anything that you truly can't eat. Again, if you have chickens or ducks at home or are considering it, then they eat absolutely everything that you won't want. Even things like eggshells can be used again. They add lovely calcium and other trace minerals to your compost, and that same calcium you can feed to your compost can also be fed back to your hens. You can also reuse your eggshells as seed starters if you're thinking about doing that organic garden, and give them to your tomatoes too. And I really do feel like there's a way to reuse everything. So just being conscious about your waste and using as much as you can really save you a lot of money. So that's kind of it for food. Moving on to home products. And now if you sat through my talk earlier today, I apologize because it's some similar kind of stuff, but I quit buying home cleaning products altogether. Several reasons why. Firstly, I'm sure you know that the majority of them are hugely toxic, even the natural brands. I was buying 7th generation. I don't mean to label cool, but I was buying 7th generation for years, spending so much money thinking I was making the right choice. And I recently came to realize that the ingredients in those products are pretty much the same as the toxic junk ones at the store. So ingredients in these common household products have been linked to, I'm sure you know this, but cancer, asthma, reproductive disorders, hormone disruption, and neurotoxicity. And what's shocking to me is that neither ingredients or products must meet any sort of safety standard, nor is any testing data or notification required before bringing a product to market. They are also ridiculously overpriced. As I said, I wasted so much money on those healthy alternatives. In 2011, Statistic Brain compiled some census data, and they found out that the average American spent $42 on cleaning products every single month, and this is the toxic stuff that's killing people. That's $504 a year, which means in 10 years you'll have spent $5,040 on toxic products that's killing you, and that's enough to buy a used car. Also, they're hugely wasteful. They use so much plastic. In my opinion, a house is not truly clean if the process of cleaning has resulted in all kinds of unnecessary waste. Conventional cleaning requires chemical products, plastic bottles, paper towels, plastic bags, sponges, disposable wipes, but it really doesn't have to be that way at all. And one of the easiest ways to reduce waste is by swapping out your cleaning products and DIYing it. Again, don't be intimidated. It's super easy. These are the essentials that you need in your home for making your own cleaning products. Baking soda, it's a salt. Its pH is higher than neutral, which means it's slightly basic, and it's the key to understanding why it's such a good cleaner. Most odors in your home are acidic, and baking soda, as I just said, is basic, so it reacts with the acids in the air and neutralizes them. So it makes a great deodorizer, and it also is an abrasive, so it makes for excellent scrubbing power. White vinegar is a natural disinfectant and antimicrobial. And honestly, that's all you need. If you're on a really tight budget, you can get away with just those two. But I also recommend liquid Castile soap, which is made from 100% plant oils. It's safe and effective. I mentioned this in my earlier talk, but if you are buying Castile soap, please be aware of the ingredients on the back. Make sure that they haven't added any fragrance or additives, because they do sneak them in there, especially as it's becoming more and more of a popular product. And then essential oils, again, quality is key with essential oils. As they're getting more and more popular, and you find diffusers now in, fancy fashion stores and stuff, which is great. I'm glad people are learning more about it, but there are also some very cheap, low-quality, pesticide-laden, chemical-laden essential oils on the market, so please be aware of where you're buying them from. For those on a budget, I really recommend Plant Therapy. They have the budget-friendly option, but also that high quality, and I've called the company and asked them about their practices, and they're very open and willing to talk, and that is very important to me. So, cleaning with baking soda. I remember when I first heard about this, and I thought, there's no way I can trust baking soda to actually clean my house. That makes no sense. But you can use baking soda for so many things in your home. It's totally chemical-free, waste-free, and very budget-friendly. A little goes a long way. Here are some of my favorite ways to use it in the house. The first one is on your carpet. Carpet cleaners contain a ton of different chemicals, and what I've come to find out is that baking soda makes a really awesome substitute for it. If something's spilt on your carpet, or your pet has peed on it, or I don't know, it's just icky, sprinkle some baking soda over the area affected and just let it absorb the moisture. My car actually flooded the other day in the hurricane, Florence, and I wasn't there, but it just left a lot of dampness and ickiness in my car, and it kind of smelt a little moldy and mildewy. And I just put baking soda all over the area, and within days it was totally deodorized and fine. So definitely a good cleaner. And then just vacuum out the baking soda when it's dry. And if a little spot remains, just brush baking soda and water mixture into the carpet. Again, let it dry, vacuum it, and it will naturally clean your carpet. And it really does work. All of these things actually work. I'm not just telling you them because they're cheap and easy. On your walls, remove marks from your walls by wiping a damp sponge dipped in baking soda. My brother with autism, when he was severe, like our walls, I'm not even joking, I wish I had pictures to show you, were just totally filthy all the time. And baking soda did the trick every single time. It worked better than the toxic stuff. And of course it's toxin-free, so that's what we're wanting. And then stainless steel appliances. You can just smell those stainless steel scrubs and just know that they're horrible for you. But just sprinkle some baking soda onto a damp sponge and wipe down your appliances. And then, this is the best hack, one of the best hacks I've learned for a shiny fridge. You can polish your appliances with just a little olive oil. Get a microfiber cloth and just a tiny bit of olive oil in there and just polish it like normal. And honestly, it shines and it looks amazing. And then, just as a natural deodorizer in general, as I said, its best known property is actually its ability to neutralize odors. Sprinkle some at the bottom of your trash can liners to neutralize strong smells. Also, as I said, I keep it in my car, but you can just put a whole thing of baking soda in your drinks cup. Just give it a stir now and again, but it will just keep your car naturally deodorized without having to resort to those toxic little air fresheners that you really don't want to be breathing in when you're driving. The power of vinegar, another great one. When it comes to green cleaning, vinegar is definitely your go-to wonder product. And here are just a few ways you can use vinegar to clean. Firstly, as a window cleaner. Mix vinegar and water in a 1-to-1 ratio in a spray bottle for extra shine with no streaks. And cut down on your waste, you can just wipe with a microfiber cloth instead of using all those paper towels, which are bleached, by the way. And so when you're holding them, you're holding bleach. And also, microfiber cloths are just way less wasteful. For your floors, mix 1 cup of vinegar and 1 cup of hot water. You can add a couple of drops of non-toxic dish soap, which you can also make yourself in a spray bottle, and just spray it on the floor. It works on hardwood tile, linoleum, and any non-carpeted surface. And then you can just mop it up. You don't even need to rinse. Sink drains, if you have a clogged drain, you definitely don't need to be using that drain cleaner, which is not only toxic for your health, but actually it destroys your drain. I learned that from a plumber recently. If you have a clogged drain, remove the stopper, pour half a cup of baking soda into it, and then follow it by a cup of vinegar. Let it kind of sit there and bubble away for about half an hour, and then just flush the drain with boiling water, and it will clear right up. And then for your loo, if your loo is looking a bit icky, just scrub it with some white vinegar. It helps to kill bacteria and eliminate odors. You can also add some lemon essential oil in there for kind of a nice fresh scent and some more antibacterial properties. And you can also make like a loo bomb. And my mum taught me this actually, and she totally freaked out when she saw it. But if you put baking soda and vinegar in the loo, it like fizzes and a little bit explodes, but it really does clean it. It looks awesome afterwards. And an entire gallon of vinegar will cost you less than $10. And that will last you for a really long time. So again, I mean, you're not only saving yourself by eliminating these toxins, but you're saving a truckload of money. My favorite recipe is my all-purpose cleaner. You can use this for everything. My kitchen is always a mess. If you ever go to my blog, you'll see I do a lot of recipe creating, and so my kitchen is also crazy dirty. But the average toxic all-purpose cleaner, it costs around $3 for a toxic one. And it's very likely it will contain DEA and TEA, which basically are carcinogens that readily penetrate your skin. They also contain ammonia, which is a corrosive that you really don't want anywhere near your family at all. And then, as I said before, the all-natural, all-purpose cleaners can cost anywhere from $3.99 upwards. Some are even, closer to the $10 mark, which is crazy. And the majority of these still contain these ingredients that have been linked to skin irritation, allergies, and hormonal issues. So in my opinion, it's just way safer and way cheaper to just make your own. As I said, this is the recipe that I use. You can take a picture of it. I'm also going to put it up on my blog, but it can be used anywhere. You basically just mix the ingredients in a spray bottle, and you can choose your own scent, whatever you and your family love. You can do some fun fall scents or Christmas scents, whatever time of year, and just use it, and it will clean better than any of the toxic stuff, and you won't be inhaling dangerous carcinogenic fumes. So other little affordable cleaning tips, which are either free or just super cheap. Firstly, increasing the amount of fresh air in your home will reduce the concentration of VOCs indoors. You can increase ventilation by opening doors and windows. That's an obvious one, but people forget to do it. Use fans to maximize this air brought in from inside. Keep both the temperature and humidity as low as possible, because chemicals off-gas more in the high temperatures and humidity, so the lower you keep it, the safer. Acidic fruits. The acid from lemons and other citrus fruits, I love actually using grapefruits here, make them great cleansers. All you need to do is cut a piece of fruit in half. As I said, I like grapefruit the most, and get ready to scrub. And if you add a good amount of salt to the fleshy side, it really works as that kind of scrubbing abrasive power. And it can really honestly clean anything. Water stains near the drain especially. It works really well, and it's a fruit. Utilize the sun. Another one that we forget about. One of the strongest energy sources is free too, and it's the sun. Solar energy can kill bacteria, and the fresh air will help eliminate odors. Nearly everything can benefit from some time outside. Just be sure to place them on a clean clothing line or place a clean towel on the ground. Drying clothing outside is an essential step in achieving fresh-smelling laundry. It's also obviously a super money-saving tactic for many reasons, not just energy costs, but also product costs. And it can also prolong the life of your garments, since dryers actually weaken the fabric. In Europe, we used to only dry our clothes on a clothesline, and they always smelled fresh and were great, and we didn't spend any money on our dryer. Recycle old cloths into rags and clothes. So before you take your decluttered clothes to Goodwill or just kind of leave them hanging out in the back of your closet, consider cutting them up, and using them for cleaning rags. You can even make disinfectant wipes or dryer sheets from it. Just again, use that vinegar, baking soda, and essential oil mixture, and you can use them for pretty much anything. I'd be happy to share any recipes for anyone that wants them. Just come and see me afterwards so I don't bore anyone with just hundreds and hundreds of recipes. And this is a kind of an obvious one, but very unpopular, I feel, is just don't let your house get that dirty in the first place. Spend a little bit of time every single day just kind of looking over things. Just be on top of it, and you'll be able to get away with using less cleaners in the long run. So that's it for cleaning products. Basically, just DIY it. Anyway, so let's move into the next section, which is beauty products. So firstly, let's talk about toxins and beauty products, because it's pretty crazy to me, and this is one of the things I'm most passionate about in general. In the US, there are over 80,000 chemicals used on the market. The majority of these are actually used by the beauty industry. In Europe, 1,500 chemicals have been banned for use in the personal care product industry. And take a guess at how many chemicals have been banned in personal care products in the US. Only 30. So unlike policies in the EU, chemicals used in America are basically presumed innocent until proven guilty. In fact, the last law made to regulate the personal care product industry was enacted in 1938. Crazy. Under this legislation, no pre-market safety testing or approval by government agencies is required before beauty products hit the shelves. The FDA then lacks the authority to recall products or to determine the safety of ingredients in personal care products, leaving it up to the industry itself to determine its own safety guidelines. And it's obvious what they're going to do there. They want to make money. As a result, we are left with this nightmare concoction of chemicals in our products. And you can check some of them out in that little graphic down there. But out of the common chemicals found in personal care products, 884 are toxic, 146 cause tumors, 218 cause reproductive complications, 314 cause biological mutation, and 376 cause skin and eye irritations. Parabens found in deodorants and lotions have been determined to accumulate in the breast tissue of patients with breast cancer. Toluene found in nail polish is associated with liver and kidney damage. And the worst part of all of this is that we, especially as women, we use these chemicals every single day. And how much do we use per day? Well, the average woman applies 515 synthetic chemicals on her body every single day. Your skin is the largest organ of your body, and it actually only takes 26 seconds for your skin to absorb the ingredients of whatever products you choose to put on it. Absorption means that the ingredients make it all the way into your bloodstream, and the toxic ingredients in conventional skincare and cosmetics products are not recognized by the body at all. So when your body is absorbing things it doesn't recognize, like these synthetic chemicals, it has a tendency to store them in fat cells and other parts of the body, and just in general wreak havoc. So how much do we spend on these toxic cosmetics? And this one is the most shocking to me. I could hardly believe it. I had to check this study so many times. But in a 2017 study conducted by OnePoll, 2,000 Americans were asked the amount of money they spend on their appearance and beauty products per month. According to the study, the average woman spends $313 per month on her appearance. And men actually only spend slightly less. On average, they spend around $244 per month. And interestingly enough, they're most likely to spend most of that money on things like facial moisturizer, hand cream, and shaving products, whereas women are most likely to spend that money on things like facials and makeup, manicures, and pedicures, all of which are extremely toxic. Which is crazy to me. This is such a huge industry, and because our government will clearly not protect us at all, it's up to us to vote with our dollars and choose safer. And it is so crucial that if we are going to buy beauty products, we support companies that are providing safer alternatives for women and are providing transparency for us. So the first question is, what do you actually need? Why do you need it? I think the first question you need to ask yourself is, do you actually even need makeup in the first place? If so, why do you need it? Do you buy it to look pretty for a date or to look smart for presentation? Do you buy it out of habit or do you buy it as a pick-me-up? Whatever the reason is, I've learned that it's best for budgets and for us to make sure you have a valid reason for purchasing beauty products anyway. In my opinion, they're a luxury, not a necessity. I think we're all beautiful just as we are. So if you validated why you need to buy it, say you're doing a presentation like me, and it's probably best to look a little more put together than usual, but what are the essentials you actually need? For me, it's just a mascara, a foundation, a blush, bronzer combo, and a lip butter, and then my added luxury sometimes is an eyeshadow palette. All of these, by the way, are toxin-free, and I'll go in that in detail in a second. I would never buy the toxic junk anymore. This may seem like a really small amount to some women, but the reason why I'm able to get away with that is because I double up. So my brown eyeshadow is also my brow pencil, and the pale shimmer eyeshadow is my little highlight. When you're on a tight budget, it's all about getting crafty with the resources you have, and again, like with the food, just utilizing whatever you can for as many different things as possible, and utilizing every single drop. So, safer and affordable brands for makeup. Like with the cleaning products, there are a ton of makeup brands out there and just beauty products in general that are labeled as eco-friendly and cruelty-free and safe and all natural, and they have green packaging, and they do everything they can to get us to buy it. As we learn, it's a billion dollar huge industry, and they really take advantage of people like us who are trying to better ourselves and make healthier options. So these are my brands that I found that are relatively affordable. I've tried not to include ones that are too expensive that I don't buy. But these are my safer brands, and I've spoken to all of these companies and asked them about their practicing methods and exactly what they use. All of these brands are safe, but they also work. I don't think that as women we should have to sacrifice feeling glamorous when we want to, just because we're not trying to kill ourselves with all these carcinogens. Don't be afraid, as I said, to call the company and question every single ingredient in their product. Ask them about sourcing and third-party testing and whether they test for heavy metals in their products or not, where they source things. We have a right to know exactly what we are putting on our skin, especially if we're spending money on these products. But as I said, these companies are relatively affordable, but it's still maybe a little pricey for some people. And especially when I was in college, I actually couldn't afford to buy makeup at all, especially the toxin-free brands. So I started to look elsewhere, and I actually found a ton of luck. And now I buy predominantly most of my toxin-free makeup on Etsy, or I make my own. You'll be surprised to know. And I'm actually wearing my own eyeliner today. So look on Etsy and in Facebook groups. Again, there are a ton of amazing people just like us out there with their own little small businesses, and they're working their butts off to make these toxin-free products for us. And they're selling them at extremely affordable prices, and a lot of them work really, really well. Reach out to them, build connections with them. Don't be afraid to ask questions and even request products. If you're looking for a toxin-free fruit pigmented blusher, reach out and ask. Again, over half of my beauty products, lotions, makeup, bath bombs, whatever it is, you name it, they all come from small businesses that I've found on either social media, in groups, or on Etsy. And here's my little recipe for a homemade eyeliner. Now, I will let you know it does smudge a little more than the toxic ones, but I think that's kind of a given because we don't have chemicals that make it stay on for ages. But it works really well. I'm wearing it now, so you guys can come and look a little more closely after. But it's just activated charcoal and coconut oil. Literally mix them two together, and you can use it for anything. Anything, dark eyeliner, mascara, dip a little mascara brush in there and use it. It works really, really well, and it's totally safe, which is awesome. Hair care. Hair care is really, really important to get right. Toxins are really easily absorbed in through the hair follicle. Not only is the scalp a really thick layer of skin, but we also have oil glands throughout in the same area of the hair follicle. And beneath the scalp are capillaries, just kind of like a hairnet of veins, and they're below the surface, and it's the perfect tunnel for the chemicals to get into your body really, really quickly. So we want to make sure that we're using very safe products or even no products. Again, there are a ton of companies out there that just love to greenwash when it comes to hair. So you may want to consider going poo-free. And this was so terrifying to me. I thought, there's no way, this is the last thing I'm ever going to do. But I do it. I do it unless I'm traveling. So the cheapest and lowest toxin way to wash your hair is train your hair to become poo-free. And basically what that is just ditching the shampoo and conditioner altogether and using baking soda to cleanse your hair from dirt. And lots of people actually have really great success with it. Don't think that you're going to be dirty and smelly with greasy hair, because that's actually not the case. So basically for shampoo, just use baking soda and water. It's actually 1 tablespoon of baking soda to 1 cup of water. And then just hop in the shower and just soak your hair first, and then start by massaging the baking soda mixture into your scalp. Rinse it out and then start with conditioner. And this is actually something my mum's been using on me since I was a child, but apple cider vinegar for conditioner. It kind of smells a little bit when you put it on, but afterwards your hair will be so unbelievably shiny and soft. Give it a go. I've been using it my entire life. It's mildly acidic, and it works really well to counteract the baking soda if you're doing the shampoo that way too. It also detangles the hair follicles, seals the cuticle, and balances the hair's pH balance. Be aware if you are trying this, and I recommend you do, just give it a go. It may take a little while for your hair to adjust, because when we buy these store-bought shampoos and conditioners, usually the toxic kind, we actually strip the natural oils from our hair. So since your hair is probably used to having its oil stripped, it might take around 2 weeks for the oil to stop producing so heavily to kind of make up for the oils that we're stripping away. If anyone's a fan of dry shampoo, and I definitely used to be, this is the easiest dry shampoo and cheapest recipe ever. You can literally just use arrowroot powder. Usually the store-bought brands contain horrible things like isobutane, butane, and propane, and they're really crazy expensive. And so if you have light hair, just dust some arrowroot powder and blend it in. And for those with darker hair, you can mix a little arrowroot with cocoa powder. And it actually obviously smells great too, but it works so well, it just absorbs any moisture. And then if you are going to buy store-bought brands, and I understand that the poo-free method may be a little out there for some people, but my go-to brand is Acure Organics, and I don't usually like to just focus on one brand, but I really trust them. And the best part about it is you can find it at places like TJ Maxx and Marshalls, and also on discount stores like Thrive Market that I mentioned earlier. Next is skincare, and this has been a huge game changer for me. Before I healed my gut, I had some acne issues, and this oil cleansing method was not only really budget friendly, but actually cleared my skin right up, as well as diet and all that good stuff. But when I first found out about oil cleansing, my skin and budget were forever changed, and I've been using rosehip oil as my cleanser, moisturizer, and makeup remover for over a year now. And I buy basically a huge organic rosehip oil from Amazon. It's under $20, and it lasts me about 6 months for all of those things. So I'm not spending hundreds of dollars on those like anti-wrinkle creams or acne blemish creams or makeup remover wipes, all those things. So if you're wondering what oil cleansing is, or you think I'm crazy for putting oil directly on my skin and using it for all these things, let me explain. The oil cleansing method is based on the principle that oil dissolves oil, which is just a basic rule of chemistry. And it means that putting oil on your skin can help minimize or reduce the amount of oil your skin is producing. The oil cleansing method replaces your facial cleanser with a pure organic cold press oil, and it's said that natural oils can help deep clean your pores, remove bacteria and makeup, and nourish your skin, which is why it's so suitable for acne and won't cause breakouts. It also contains several skin supportive nutrients such as omega-3 and omega-6 essential fatty acids, and they're obviously essential for nourishing and hydrating the skin, as well as promoting just an overall brighter and clearer complexion. Again, as we mentioned before, the skin is the largest organ. It also needs nutrients, so feed it with some. Basically, all you do is just massage the oil into your skin for a minute, whether you have makeup on or not, and then use an organic washcloth. You can also use your organic cotton clothes that you can cut up that are old, and just rinse it under hot water, preferably filtered, so you're not putting bleach and chlorine and stuff on your face, and then just use it to remove the oil residue. And continuing on the oil rave, you can also utilize essential oils, especially if you have them in your home for cleaning and other things, for more specific things. So lavender, for example, is great for any acne or blemishes. And I utilize that too, and you can mix it in with the rosehip oil. But again, really, really affordable. As I said, I spend probably $40 a year on facial products, skincare products, and it's just rosehip oil, which I know is organic and toxic free. So the last little section is free healthy living tips, and I think we underestimate all of these things that you can do for free to better your health. I like to think of our ancestors who had great health without all these fancy gadgets and expensive food and supplements and all the things that we love and use today. But just simple things like relaxation techniques. All of these activities, relaxation techniques, prayer, meditation, journaling, all of them reduce stress, which in my opinion is one of the biggest contributors to disease. Try sampling several activities and just figure out which one works best for you and for your schedule. Ideally, try and do about 20 minutes each day for reduced stress, but even just 5 minutes a day, just taking a moment for some deep, focused breaths, saying a prayer, whatever you need to do, just taking time out to reduce stress can be so hugely impactful on your health, so don't underestimate that. Also, it's an obvious one, but getting enough sleep. Poor sleep negatively impacts glucose metabolism and also increases risk of neurological decline, obesity, hypertension, suppressed immune function, premature aging, and thyroid dysfunction. Aim to get at least 7 hours of sleep each night, and my best tips for improving sleep are trying to avoid caffeine, especially past midday, avoiding blue light 2 hours before bed, and you can get some really awesome blue blocking glasses from Amazon for under $10. Definitely go check them out. They look kind of funky, but they do the job. Remove electronics from your bedroom and black out your room, and also just try getting into a routine in the evening before bed. Again, totally free. Drinking enough water, and obviously it's not entirely free if you're drinking good water, but it's the most common nutritional deficiency in America, yet it's the most important nutrient in the human body. Not only are we drinking too little water each day, but we're also drinking things like coffee and caffeinated teas and alcohol and fruit juices, which are all diuretic beverages that further contribute to dehydration. And early signs of dehydration can manifest as fatigue, anxiety, irritability, depression, and then more advanced dehydration, joint pain, back pain, migraines, heartburn, and colitis. So aim to drink half of your body in water weight each day. Ditch the plastic. 93% of Americans have detectable levels of BPA in their bodies, and over 75% of Americans have phthalates in their urine. And both BPA and phthalates are synthetic chemicals. They mimic estrogen in the body, and they have been shown to have significant correlations with abdominal obesity and insulin resistance, just to name a few. So my advice is ditch the plastic altogether and benefit not only your health but the environment as well. And moving our bodies daily, it's so vital for mental health, strength, and for healthy skin. Moving just 30 minutes a day improves circulation, encourages the flow of lymph, boosts energy, enhances mood, and regulates digestion and elimination. A doctor called Dr. Alan Christiansen explains that just 20 to 30 minutes of outside time shortly after waking up in the morning can help balance your circadian rhythms and improve cortisol levels. I make sure that every single morning I get a 30-minute walk-in within an hour of waking up, and it's been really impactful for my health. Again, totally free. Vitamin D obviously is crucial for immune health and many other things, but if you can't afford the expensive vitamin D supplements, then get outside. The sun is the best source of vitamin D, and especially if you live here in California, you get a lot of it. And then grounding. Our bodies need to come in direct contact with the grounding force of the earth to reduce the positive charge that can build up in our bodies, especially with the high prevalence of Wi-Fi and electromagnetic waves. And I know you've just had a talk all about that in here. So go outside barefoot for a few minutes each day to diffuse this. Again, totally free. So the bottom line. At the end of the day, it's all about doing the best that we can with the knowledge that we have and with the resources that we have and with everything that we have right here today. Give yourself permission to be at whatever level you're at. Know that it's going to be different to other people. dependent on budget and other things, and just keep striving to live healthier and happier without straining your budget. Don't give up like those people that I encounter all the time. I hope that I've been able to convince you that living healthy doesn't have to be expensive. If you know your budget, plan ahead, learn the hacks, and utilize the things we can do for free, we've learned that sometimes the most effective steps towards optimum health are actually the easiest ones to implement and cost the least. So when you next hear someone giving up and saying they can't afford to live a low-tox lifestyle, educate them with some of the tips you've learned here today and let them know that anyone, regardless of your income status or budget, can live the safe and healthy life that they deserve. So that's it. And if anyone has any questions, I don't know if we're running out of time, but if we have time, you can go to the mic. And if not, I'll be around all weekend, so feel free to ask anything. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.